everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back. My name is Yonela. Welcome. If it's your first time, please like and subscribe if you are enjoying my content. Today I'll be sharing 4 places that I was able to experience in my life, and also their differences and also my preference as well. This is only based on my experiences. So growing up, I grew up in the villages of Inklaza. I was born there, I grew up there most of my life. I was in the rural until I had to go and study in tertiary and I think even high school. So yeah, so growing up in the villages, it's a village, it's big, but what I like about the village is that everybody knows you, even if you don't know them. They know you, they know your parents, they know like which child are you, they know your name, whatever. So in the villages, everyone knows each other. In the villages, they make sure that they feed each other. If a neighbor doesn't have sugar, they're able to go and knock to their neighbor and say, hey neighbor, I don't have sugar, or I don't have cooking oil, or we are hungry, and they feed each other. So that was my upbringing, the way I grew up, seeing the neighbors, going to ask, not only asking for food, even for materials, certain materials, like let's say maybe they do not have a wheelbarrow for something to go and fetch water, all of those things. So that was the life that I grew up in, whereby there's sharing. The community knows you. If there is a kid that is lost, they already know your parents. Everyone knows you, right? And then the other thing when I was growing up, that I got to experience was that we did not go to the shop almost for everything. Like growing up, we were making bread at home. Growing up, we would just go into the garden, get the spinach. Like the veggies were all in the garden. The onion is there. Everything is there. Like just everything was just in the garden. In winter we had oranges, and then was it spring or summer? I think it was summer we had peaches in the garden. We had apples, like we had fruits, we had everything. And then when it comes to meat, we have meat. Meat is not scarce in the villages, like it's not scarce. Even if you did not slaughter today, but meat in the villages is not scarce. If you did not slaughter today, your neighbor did slaughter, and the neighbor will call you by the fence and say, hey, Maki, please come and take. We were slaughtering whatever. We slaughtered a sheep today. Please have this leg. And then you get the leg. You are able to move on with life. You have meat, you have what. So growing up in the village is like, as much as there's poverty associated with the villages, but I feel like people there, they are very human. They help each other. They understand each other's struggle. You can even go to a neighbor and say, neighbor, I don't have money to go to town. I need to go and fetch money, whatever. You have your story. The neighbor will just give you money. And sometimes they do not even expect you to pay it back. Let's say maybe if a neighbor is sick, the neighbor will be worried, will be going and checking, is my neighbor fine, what. So it becomes a community thing that someone is not well, whoever, the community will meet up. Like, that is how we grew up. And also the other thing when I was growing up was the respect. Respect was a big thing growing up in the rural. You need to be respectful. You need to say thank you. You need to say no. You say no, thank you. I don't want it. When you are receiving something, come with both hands. Like all of those things, everything was just instilled. If you are addressing an elder, you cannot say yes. You say yes, mama. Yes, dada. Like there must be something. There must be something following there. So you know that even if you see an older sister, you do not just call them by their names. You say Sisi, you say Booty, you say like that is respect. Like there are certain people you cannot just you address them in a proper manner, and yeah, that is how we grew up in the villages, and that was what was instilled in us. And then I grew up, and then I moved. When I moved into the urban area. Moving into the urban area, there was a difference, but with the urban area, one, I had to get used to the fact that I'm paying for almost everything. If I need bread, I go and buy. Not to say I couldn't make bread, I could, but me making bread was going to be more costly than buying, because making bread, I'm gonna pay for electricity, I'm gonna make it with water, and also the ingredients. That's more money. So for me, the cheapest was just buying. So buying bread, paying for water. In the villages, there's no paying for water. Like there are few things that you have to pay for. Like there are just few. Most of the things you get them from the garden, and life moves on. And even if you don't have money that month, it's not like you cannot survive. Yes, you can survive. Yes, you can still eat. But in the urban area, I got to understand that if I don't have money, I might sleep on an empty stomach. So I had to adjust that I have to have money every day for food, for veggies, for fruit, for everything. That was something new. But also with the urban area compared to the rural area, the urban area, everything was just here. If I need to go to the clinic, it's here. If I need to go to the police station, it's here. If I need to post office, it's here. Everything was just here. The schools, the everything, the shops, from clothes to food, and everything was just near. It was just a walking distance. So I moved to Johannesburg. I'm staying in Johannesburg. Everything is around. Access to everything. No payment for transport. Unlike the rural areas, you travel long distance to go to town for 45 minutes. I'm on the road going, another 45 minutes coming back. I come back, I'm tired, it's already at night. So it's just tiring. Like being far from the services, and it was just tiring and just too much compared to the urban. The urban, everything is here, life is smooth, you have access, you are buying at the same time, and everything. And also, the other twist is that if you run out of sugar, you cannot go and say, knock, 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 Maki, I don't have sugar, can I please have? No, doesn't happen that way there. Like it doesn't. Everyone is trying to survive. No one is gonna feed you. If they have extra meat, they're gonna call you and say, hey Maki, please come and get. No, it doesn't work that way. So that was different as well. And then the other thing is also the protection. In the villages, you're protected. If you scream, if they hear one scream, the entire community is out. Hey, they're fighting. They bring their shambok. Hey, they bring everything. They're very protective of each other. They don't want intruders in their village. They know everyone. if they see a new face, a different someone, they ask, they like they interrogate, they want to understand who are you visiting, where are you from, and what, so that they know who is here and what are you doing here. There, it's different. You are in town, you are carrying your bag, you are going for shopping, you are just walking, somebody is snatching your bag or someone is trying to mug you. Guess what? Everyone is gonna take out a phone and take a video. No one is gonna protect you, no one is gonna fight for you. You are on your own. No, like you are on your own. Nobody cares. They'll be like, no, even if it was happening to me, nobody was gonna protect me. So no one protects each other here. And then the other thing here in the urban area is that nobody knows you. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. Nobody knows you. You would hardly meet someone that really knows you. Hardly. Nobody knows you. You can do whatever anytime, and like nobody knows you. In the villages, if you want to do something, you must hide, like properly hide. Because if your neighbor sees you, or even if it's not your neighbor, if someone in your village sees you, it will definitely reach home. Eventually, your family will know. No, we saw her by the corner standing with that boy, what, and now it's a lecture. Now you're not looking good in the community, whatever. Now you're not a good child. And now just because you want to be a good child, you want to be seen as this child that is here, you'll make sure that whatever that I do, not in front of them, otherwise the entire village will know. I'll be the talk of the village. But yeah, Josie, you can do whatever. You can disappear for a month, for a week. No one will ask you. No one will even notice, for that matter. Whether you're coming out or not, no one. So yeah, that was the life in the urban. And then I got to experience the Kasi life as well. At some point in my family, we moved to this other Kasi. We once moved and we stayed there for a few years. Like, we couldn't survive for long. We had to go back in the villages because the life there was just not speaking to us as like it was. We were just not connecting. And also at the time we had nephews. My nephews were still young and we were like, no, we cannot raise kids in this environment. It was just not safe for them. So in the Kasi, there's violence, there's fighting, there's violence, there's shouting, like violence everywhere, like everywhere. I guess one day, guys, I will tell you a story about this part of the violence, and that also contributed to us relocating and us moving back in the villages. It was because of the violence that happened. And yeah, there's too much drinking. It's just too much. If you're not drinking, you're not relevant. If you're not on the streets, it's like you're not relevant. You're missing out on life. You're not youthful enough. The life there is just moving too fast. We just couldn't connect. And also in the hood, everyone is just hustling. Like, everyone is hustling. Everyone yapanda, man, yapanda. And I'm like, what are we pandering? So everyone ekasi uyapanda, and I feel like also ekasi there's lack of respect because nobody cares about you. We are here to make money. We are here to make a living. And yeah, and that's it. As long as I have food, and I'm fine, I'm happy, and yeah. And then parents like us are way too understanding for my liking. As a parents are just too understanding, and they understand that my child drinks, they understand that my child is dating and she's gonna bring a plastic or something. Oh no, at night they go clubbing, she's gonna come back in the morning. Like, that was the life I was exposed to. I'm not saying all the classes are like that, but that was my experience of seeing that. Oh my goodness, a mother and a child discussing these things. No, I've never been exposed to that. When I compare that to the rural area, is that in the rural areas, parents are not too understanding. They want you to be conservative, wait for the right time, wait for this, what, yeah. As a girl child, you're not supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. So they're forever, they want you here. But also, there's a downside to that, because as this child from the rural, you're trying to meet this standard, and sometimes it's just not happening. But if you're in the hiding place, just go and hide and do it somewhere. And also the issue with the rural, they trust their neighbors, they trust family members, and sometimes it can be very dangerous for kids if now the parents or the family members are trusting the neighbors. If they're going to town, they say, go to a neighbor, hey neighbor, please look after my child, I'll come back. And kids, they get violated, they get abused in the hands of the neighbors, in the hands of the family members, and then after, nobody talks about it, nobody addresses it. So it's also dangerous also in the rural areas, having those traits. But also in the castle life, understanding the fact that your child is gold digging, your child is going out clubbing and what, you're putting your kid's life at risk. There are no boundaries. There's no what. Like, it's shocking sometimes. So yeah, that was the life I was exposed to in the castle life. And then I moved into the suburbs. And then into the suburbs, the life in the suburbs is too costly, like way too costly than expected. You pay for everything, you pay for water, you pay for electricity, just like in the Kasi and urban water, electricity, you pay for those things. And also, every time you step out of the door, just know that money is going out, money is going out, money is going out. So when I relocated from Johannesburg, moving to here, in my mind I was like, oh, I'm gonna save a lot of money when it comes to transport, because now I'll be more closer to work. And guess what? I've noticed that it's more costly. I'm spending more on traveling, because if I need to go to the police station to certify, I must drive. If I need to go to the clinic or whatever, I must drive. If I need to go to SARS, I must drive. Unlike when I was in Joburg, SARS is in town, I'm walking. If I need to go to the police station, I'm walking. If I need to go there, I'm walking. Like, most of the time I was walking. The only time I would drive would be when I'm going to work, or when I'm going to drop my kid to school. That's the only time I drive. Or maybe I'm visiting, or I'm going somewhere, which was hardly the reason, because everything is here next to me. And then the other thing about the suburb is the fact that they make sure that it's safe. They have gated communities of some sort. They have electric fences. They're patrolling. They're putting all of the measures to make sure that it's safe and people feel safe. So yeah, I like that about the suburbs. And then also when it comes to respect, people in the suburbs, they are respectful, and the kids as well. They call you Auntie Mang Mang, Uncle Mang Mang. Like, yeah, the kind of respect that I'm used to from the rural areas. And then parents in the suburbs, whoo, they're way too protective. They, like, I feel like they're just too much. Like, they're just too much. Like, I feel like parents in the suburbs, they do not trust anyone. I feel like they do not even trust family members. That's how bad it is. They do not trust anyone. But also, I guess it's for the safety of the kids. It's for the safety of their own kids as well. So if you want to take somebody's kid, you must go and ask for permission. You cannot just take what. Compared to the villages, in the village, I can take my neighbor's kid and go to town and not even tell my neighbor. We just disappear the whole day. Let's say, for example, the neighbors get the word that I took the child, I went to town, the neighbor will not have a problem and be like, no, it's my neighbor, no, my child is fine, whatever. Hey, in the app, and you do that, I think they would even press charges on you. They will open a case and say you're stealing the child. You have to drop their child, and you have to confirm, you have to call. Oh, me growing up in the rural, hey, it's not the easiest. As a result, I hardly request for anybody's child. Like, I feel like even that thing that they do in the rural, I feel like it's not safe as well. You must be protective, but also you must not be too protective. You must be protective as a parent, but you must not be too protective, because also, I man, it's just too much. Even if your child is going to a family member, you must what, you must what, like there are certain procedures, there are certain methods. Okay, fine. And also, lack of responsibilities. Kids or people like in the suburbs, like they lack responsibility in terms of, let's say, for example, kids in the suburbs, they don't even know how to do their own laundry because they have nannies. The nannies are doing everything for them. If not the nannies, the adults in the house, they are washing their school uniform, they're doing whatever. Me growing up in the villages, I'm used to when you come back from school, you wash your you wash your socks, you wash your school t-shirt, you polish your shoes, you do your homework, and then you play with them. The first thing is play, you're on your phone, technology, whatever. So yeah, they are not taught how to be responsible, how to do for themselves. And also I think it's not good, because what happens if you as the parent that is able to offer all of these things, you are no longer there, who's going to do those things for them? No one. And they will feel like they're being ill-treated, whatever. So sometimes we just need to teach kids that level of responsibility and everything. So yeah. And also there are certain things that are just not easy to instill to a child that is growing up in the suburbs, unlike to a child that is growing up in a community that is more involved, whereby everyone is able to correct, whereby everyone is able to discipline. Because in the villages, a neighbor can beat you and your mom will not fight for you and say, hey, why did you beat my child? Hey, in the suburbs, you cannot beat anybody's child. They'll tell you it's not your child. If you have a problem, if my child did something, you come to me. So it's those things. In the villages, the child, everyone is involved, the community is involved, everyone can beat you, everyone can discipline you, everyone can correct you. Yeah, so certain behaviors are just instilled like that in the rural, and then in the urban, they are not. And then the other thing about suburb is that it teaches kids, or maybe it shapes kids to be more vocal about their feelings, about what they see, about what they observe and everything. Whereas for us who grew up in the villages, we are more reserved. Even when you see something, it takes a lot from you to stand up for yourself and address it and whatever. So that is also different. So for me, the best place that I like and also I enjoy, and also I've seen the benefits of living there, um, is the rural areas. I don't know whether it is because I grew up there, I understand the life, um, the rural lifestyle and everything. But also, even with the rural lifestyle, I think there are certain things I would change as well. My lifestyle, I modernize some things, because yeah, life is changing, and people are not safe, kids are not safe and everything. So I like the rural areas more. I think I like them even more now that I'm older, because I understand the cost of living. Um, Firstly, the fact that when I'm here in Joburg, and when I go home to visit my parents, I see the difference in terms of the lifestyle. When I'm home, my parents do not pay for water. We have plenty of water. There are no limitations. Water is free. It's from the rain. I like that. And also, I like the fact that the water is free. Even electricity, we do use electricity, but it's not as expensive as here. Yeah, here electricity is just whew, way too expensive. But there, electricity, yes, it is costly, but not compared to here. And then the other thing is that when it comes to food, you do I when I'm home, I do not get to buy everything. We do not buy everything. Um, Most of the times, veggies are in the garden. If we are buying something, it's this and this and that. It's not like almost everything is from the shop. And then when it comes to meat is everywhere. A leg of, of a lamb from a neighbor. This cow is injured, let's slaughter it. The cow is slaughtered, and they call the community. Everyone gets a share in everything. So I prefer the rural life. I like it. I love it now that I'm older, because of the cost saving, because also of the safety, and also because of how it instills responsibility, respect in kids. Um, I, I love it. I love the rural life, but there are certain things that I do not like about it. Uh, Traveling long distances and everything. If I would have a chance to go and live in the rural, or maybe the ideal way of surviving in the rural, you plant your own garden, you save on you're saving on veggies, you have chickens, you don't buy eggs, you have cows, you don't buy milk. Meat is plenty, okay, you do buy there and there. And yeah, and when it comes to services, because services are very far from you, you need to have your own car. If you want to live a comfortable life in the rural, you must have your own car to travel, even though it's tiring because of the distance, but it's better. And also in the rural areas nowadays, I like what people are doing. People are building big houses, are building double-story mansions. They have plenty of land. Why not do that? Build a big home. You don't have to use the pit toilet. You are flushing. You have your bathroom. Even when you're flushing, you're not worried about water, the cost of water, because water is free. You flush your toilet. But if it was for me, I'd be living in the rural areas, living the rural life, living a cheap life. Yeah. After the rural areas, I think the suburbs would be next. Reason being, in the suburbs, it's not like you cannot live a low cost life. You can. It's doable, because I once visited this home. It's a 3 million home, beautiful inside. But what I liked about that home, and it stuck with me till today, was the fact that, one, with the electricity, they had a solar system all over. They were using solar system for electricity. And also when it comes to what when it comes to geyser, there was those big gas cylinder tanks. I think it was 40 something kgs. So they had that for the geyser and also for the gas stove. And also the other thing that I liked about that home was the fact that when I got there, they had those big Jojo tanks, like all over. And they were saying the plan was that later in life, they're still planning, later in life they are going to install those Jojo tanks, and they will have filters to clean or to purify the water, and then they will use water from the rain. Also, they were saying that with regards to the electricity, ever since they installed the solar system, like, they are saving a lot on electricity. They will build like more than 3,000 on electricity a month. More than 3,000 a month. Now it's like nothing. And then when it comes to water, now they're saying they want to work on the water. They want to make sure that even for the water they are not build anything, and that person is still living in a beautiful home, 3 million home, beautiful inside, flawless inside. But when they show you around, they show you the solar system, the generators, the convectors, the what, all of these things, those big cylinder gases, you get shocked and you're like, other people are just smart. And I'm saying we just need to be smart about these things. If you choose to, I would suggest, if you choose to live in the suburbs, make sure that there are certain things that you put in place so that your life is not too costly and you enjoy your life in the suburbs and you are safe. Two, if you're living in the rural areas, make sure that you have a car for traveling, you have easy transport to access certain services that you will need, hospitals, doctors, police stations, schools, and what. And also make sure that you do not practice exactly what everyone is doing in the rural areas. You are too trusting, you're just too much. You don't have to do too much of anything. Everything has to be moderate. Otherwise, too much of a thing, it becomes not so good. And then if you choose to live in the urban area, and even urban area is not so bad. If you choose to live in the urban area, make sure that you have your own money, you have access to money, because nobody cares for you, nobody cares about you. You have money to feed yourself, you're able to sustain your life. And then if you're living in the township, make sure that you are very strict, number one. Very strict. You have a big stop nonsense that is even hiding the roof of your house. No one can even see what's happening inside. And also make sure that your kids are just not exposed in that lifestyle, and yeah. So that was my experiences, and also I guess and I hope that it will give you a view and help you to make certain decisions for your own stay. For you choose what you want, you choose what works for you, what doesn't work for me. But maybe um my experience won't be your experience. You can choose based on what works for you and what is best for you, and also don't feel pressured by anyone to change your lifestyle to no, to fit other people's what standards. Just know your place, and yeah, and stick to your lane. If you are able to afford a kasi life, fine, but have ways to protect your kids, to yes, to protect your kids from the fast-paced lifestyle, the hustling, the what, the violence and everything. Be sure if you are from the rural areas, don't be too trusting. People are evil. People can do certain things to your kids. And then when it comes to urban, hey, you must know your story. You are on your own. In the suburbs, hey, you must have money. Otherwise, you will drown and never come back. Thank you for watching. Good night.